unshaved dog. I think he learned that on the hard way. He says this: never read 2 autobiographies at the same time. I still don't understand why Shilpa Shetty was Hitler's favourite architect. He says we must take responsibility for our own doings, and humanity is responsible for many of its own, and complicit in many of its own mistakes. He says this: do not complain about being eaten by a horse if you have chosen to play polo dressed as a sugar lump. And he says we must learn from these mistakes. How often, he says, must the same mistakes be made before people stop trying to pass it off as unlucky coincidence? I've done some research into this, he writes. The answer for me is 50 times. Because 49 times I have electrocuted myself. If it happens once more, then I will stop dropping my toaster in the bath to see if I can make crunchy water. So I think we should learn that from these. And he has some very interesting suggestions for how to improve cricket as well, particularly the 50-over game, very close to his heart. So various suggestions for how to improve 50-over cricket under threat, of course, and T20 and the future of cricket. He suggests various things. One, to make it more of a bowler's game, the wicketkeeper should be given a chainsaw, which is allowed to rev while the bowler's running up just to scare the batsman. He suggests a new power play, because they keep tinkering with the rules, with the power play rules. This is the solution for one-day cricket, to get the crowds back. A new power play where for 5 overs, the batting captain controls the fielding team. Every cricket fan in the world will tune into this. Every fan in the world. Are you sure you want 9 men on the 3rd-man boundary? Yes, I'm sure, I'm the captain. Do we all have to wear tutus? Yes, you do. Get on with it. And he also suggests doubling the value of all runs to make cricket twice as exciting. I think it's something the IPL will probably bring in next year. He suggests that the umpires should be able to take players off not just for bad lights, but for other things, including feeling peckish, feeling a bit sad, worrying about the Syrian crisis and needing to check their emails. He also says India should learn from England's professional approach to the game and have a similar backroom staff. Because England have a huge backroom staff of about, I think, 350 staff now. In fact, when England go on tour, the country gets quite empty. There's much less traffic around. All these kind of nutritionists and personal fitness trainers, video analysts, and they have an exorcist as well. I think just travels around with Kevin Peterson most of the time. They have an appealing coach, and they have a bedtime storyteller, just to make sure the players all get a nice night's sleep before the game. So he also, another study says that he'd love to have played T20. He thinks he'd have been a very innovative batsman, and he has some ideas for new shots he would have developed, including the amateur dentist shot, in which he would have played a kind of Dilsham-style scoop into his own mouth. And the teeth that splattered all over the pitch would have lodged in the turf and helped his own bowlers when they came to bowl into the game. With a sledgehammer shot, where he would have batted with a sledgehammer in the closing overs and jammed down on the Yorkers, lodging the ball in the pitch, so the fielding team needs to get an industrial digger out while the batsman run 9 or 10. And the samurai salad chef shot, which he saw in a samurai-themed Japanese restaurant. A chef cutting a tomato in half with a sword, and he thought that could work in cricket. You have a sharpened bat, and you swing it at the ball, cutting it in half and sending both halves for 6. A total of 12 runs. So there we go. I think that's probably enough lies about Navjot. Navjot's silly. One of many heroes in cricket. Had a great imagination. And, there are other heroes as well. Pravin Tambe in the Champions League. 41 years old. But he's now he's already turned 42. And he'd never played top-level cricket, or top wicket-taker in the Champions League. Let's make the story even better. He'd never even played cricket before that tournament. He'd never played sport. He hadn't even put his limbs on until 4 weeks ago. He'd never even left his house in 42 and there he is. We can all do, I'm 39, I've still got this whole Monty Panesar as well. Monty Panesar, which is the most uncoordinated man in the world, and yet an elite level sportsman. When you see him, there's only two things he can do with any coordination. One is urinating off a balcony, and two is bowling left arm spin. When you see him fielding back, it's like he's only put his legs and arms on for the first time that day. When he bowls, it's like he was bitten by a radioactive fish and belly. So these are the heroes we turn to. And we turn to Stuart Broad in England as well for his heroic upholding of the spirit of cricket. As you know, the spirit of cricket is very dear to us English, as you saw in the Ian Bell incidents in 2011 when Ian Bell was run out. He'd already scored about 150, he was run out because he caught the ball in on for 4, and he was trotting back there, he was run out, and England went into the Indian dressing room and said, poor little Ian's really sad about being run out, he's crying in the dressing room, will you let him have another go? It's his birthday, his dog died last week, he really needs this. And India took pity on Ian Bell, and the spirit of cricket was summoned, and he was allowed to carry on. Now that spirit of cricket was less evident when Stuart Broad hammered the ball to slip in the first Ashes test this year, and stood there as if to say to the umpire, me, hit the ball? Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. I don't even have a bat. Look, what's this in my hand? Oh, it's just a piece of wood that I carry around with me all the time. Just like that. But then I think Broad in many ways was harshly criticised for that, because when you see him bowl, you see him appeal when he's bowling. It's clear he just doesn't understand the rules of cricket. So he was batting, he hits it in the slip and he thinks, I know this. If you hit the ball, it's not out. It's only out if it goes 2 inches past the outside edge. I know this. But the spirit of cricket wasn't there for England quite so much when Alan Stanford, the Texan billionaire who's currently receiving free board and lodging for a rather long time from the US government, when he turned up at Lord's in his pretend helicopter with his fake money in the Perspex box. Where was the ECB prostituted English? They must have sent England batsmen out to bat in fishnet stockings and a push-up bra. It was an embarrassment. So anyway, I'm reaching towards the end of the show. Are there any issues that I've not addressed that you think I should have done in the course of this show? Australia. But do you think, because they're here at the moment, basically wasting time before the Ashes. It's weird, I'll tell you that, this shows how far Australia have fallen in cricket. A lot of English people felt a bit sorry for them during the Ashes. And this was the most extraordinary thing that happened in the Ashes, which ties inside to the theme of this show. The kind of apocalyptic theme of the show, if the world ended, which would we miss more, cricket or the world? In the final test at the Oval, England are 3-0 up. This is against a team that has mercilessly humiliated us over almost 2 painful decades, from the late 80s to the mid-part of last decade. And we are 3-0 up against our oldest cricketing foe at the Oval. It's the 3rd day. England are bowling with 9 men on the boundary to Ryan Harris, Australia's number 10 batsman. And England, 3-0 up in the Ashes, are being booed by their own fans. This was foretold in the Book of Revelations, people. This is a surefire sign of the apocalypse. This and Ravi Jadeja becoming an unstoppable international cricketer. The end of the world is nigh, people. The end of the world is nigh. Any other issues?
Shikhar Dhawan's moustache.
Shikhar Dhawan's what? His moustache. That's a heroic moustache. I think when you score 187 of 170 balls on Test debut, you can have whatever facial hair you choose. I think W.G. Grace started that trend, and I like to think Dhawan is carrying it on. I think you have to earn that kind of facial hair, and I think he did that. W.G. Grace actually used to keep a mouse in his beard. Bite him on the left nipple if you thought he should play an attacking shot, and the right nipple if you thought he should play a defensive shot. There's a fact. So,